Hi, Dr. Russell Sharp from Utrema here, and I wish that the title of this video was purely clickbait. Unfortunately, it is not, and there is a real problem with the use of carcinogens on regenerative farms. Now, before I go into the details of that, I would just like to say that I am a big fan of regenerative farming. Principles such as min-till, direct drilling, cover crops, and the use of biologicals are all fantastic, and I think they should be more widely incorporated on any farm. And at Utrema, we're helping to do that. However, there is a big problem when it comes to the advice that's being received by farmers, particularly in relation to certain elements that are being applied. Now, there is a big problem with cobalt sulfate and nickel sulfate. These are carcinogens. These are highly carcinogenic, and the likes of John Kempf, Graham Sate, Joel Williams, and Robert Plum are advising the use of cobalt sulfate and sometimes nickel sulfate. Now, they are carcinogenic, not only in the product you receive in the bottle or in the packet, they're also carcinogenic when diluted in water. So the farmer gets exposed to carcinogenic solution in the water vapor spray drift. Their family gets exposed to carcinogens. The neighbours in spray drift get exposed. The animals on any grassland get exposed. The consumer in the crop, the waterways get exposed, the soil life. The poor chump who has to formulate the product for these advisors gets exposed to these carcinogens. They're highly toxic, they're residual. These are not borderline, possibly could be carcinogens. If I just bring up here the list of hazard phrases for these products, this is not the hazard phrases for the product you receive. This is the hazard phrases for the solution. If you were to sell the solution that you put on the crops, that is the hazard phrases you would need to put on the bottle of the diluted thing. Shocking. All of those, absolutely shocking. Now, these are not plant nutrients in anything other than ridiculously small amounts. It took plant scientists over 100 years to produce a system where they could remove all plant nutrients to the point where they could identify cobalt and nickel deficiencies in hydroponically grown crops grown in ultra-pure water. Now, if you're growing plants in soil, there is never going to be a deficiency of cobalt and nickel, certainly not in the British Isles. So many of these advisors will say things like nitrates are carcinogenic or glyphosate is carcinogenic. There might be a case for glyphosate, but at least glyphosate is going to break down in the soil eventually. Cobalt and nickel, they will never break down. So all of these advisors are saying apply cobalt, and I just think that's a bit hypocritical if you're going to say that other things are carcinogenic and say that we need to be farming, making crops healthier for humans to grow. I don't think you should be saying we should be applying carcinogens. So why are they doing this? Why are the advisors saying we need to be applying these? And I think it comes down to two key reasons. There's a paradigm amongst regenerative agricultural experts that you need to, if you control the crop nutrition, get the crop nutrition right, then you won't have pest diseases and weeds. And they've come to this conclusion because they've sprayed these products onto crops and they've got rid of spider mites, they've got rid of rust. And you will, if you spray cobalt sulfate, copper sulfate onto a crop. Yeah, you will get rid of spider mites and you will get rid of rust because they're biocides. They're highly toxic chemicals. It's not because you've got the crop nutrition right. And yes, humans and livestock do need a small amount of cobalt to make vitamin B for vitamin B12. However, humans don't make vitamin B12, animals don't make vitamin B12, plants don't make vitamin B12, bacteria do. So applying it as a fertilizer is not a good thing to do for that reason. So the bacteria will naturally make vitamin B12 on the surface of the leaf, in the soil. That's the process you're not going to control. But one thing that really grinds my gear about these claims is that many of these experts are also claiming that things like nitrates are carcinogenic, where there is no scientific consensus about this, and other things, other compounds, maybe other agrochemicals that they claim to be carcinogenic or other practices. These compounds, cobalt, nickel, and cobalt sulfate and nickel sulfate are stone cold carcinogens. And I think it's immoral to be promoting their use and poisoning UK soils and poisoning UK farmers for decades, if not centuries. So I'd ask them to stop promoting their use and we can start using other more biological and processes that are in line with the truly regenerative processes. So if you see any of these advisors at events like Groundswell, then please call them up on it, put them my way. I have spoken to Joel Williams about this, and we disagree on it. I do think the likes of Joel have got some really good things to say about regenerative farming, but on this topic, I strongly disagree with Joel. And if you think any different, please comment below. If you'd like to know more information, then please get in touch with Russell Sharp at Utrema. Thank you very much.